In today's video, I'm going to try and do my best to power through what might be one of the worst hangovers I've ever had. Hence the let me see your registration shades. Thankfully it's not too hot down here right now. Anyway. Yet. So, I've got to go to Indiana, like, tomorrow. I don't want to fly because I'm going to be there for like 2 weeks. So I need to drive. Now, Power Tour is in like 2 or 3 weeks, and I thought I had more time to get the C10 ready for Power Tour. So I've got to get it ready to turnkey and take on that road trip today, regardless of if it's the rig that I'm taking on tomorrow's road trip. I might end up just figuring out how to jerry rig something for the throttle cable for the Chevelle and taking that up. That would be one fuck of a first drive, wouldn't it? After completely tearing almost everything apart and putting new Go Fast stuff on it. Didn't even really break the cam in properly, I'm pretty sure. And then taking it and driving it from the greater Pensacola area to the very southern part of Indiana, right by the Ohio River. I don't know exactly how many miles that is. You guys have Google Maps. I don't know. There's a lot of distance between those two parts of the country. So I need to get there. And last night, I spent entirely too much time at the tavern just up the road, throwing darts and drinking cheap beer. So today's going to be fun. We're going to try and get the truck buttoned up. Now that is going to require a whole lot of assistance from Daisy, who is currently tying herself around a chair right now. I need to do the front disc conversion. I need to take the intake and exhaust manifold off and replace those gaskets and pray that fixes the loud exhaust backfire issue. I've got to ignore all the notifications coming into my phone. I've got a radiator shroud, fan shroud thing that needs to go on because the truck won't stay cool if it sits and idles for too long, even with the fancy Illuminator 5000 radiator I put in, and I think my first video that I uploaded to this channel. What else? I don't know. There's a bunch of shit, right? I got a lot of shit to do, not a lot of time to do it, and I'm operating on, I think, 2 out of the 8 brain cells that constitute my gray matter. So we're just going to get rolling. I'm going to bring you guys along. Hopefully this turns out. If it doesn't, maybe you guys will laugh. Who knows? We'll see. But buckle up. This is going to be fun. Whew. All right. Tools. Where are my tools? Hi, Daisy. Alright, let's kind of talk about what I need to get done. Jesus, it's fucking bright out here. Alright, so here is my C10's wonderful 292. This thing is, I think, debatably one of the simplest engines man's ever made. Just throw that down there. Now, one of the things that I really don't like about this engine is that the intake and the exhaust manifolds are like permanently bolted, mated together. It's just one giant hunk of fuck your back bolted to the side of the block. So that needs to come out. I'm pretty sure the one giant gasket that seals both of them is leaking somewhere on my block, because these things are literally just held in place by like the world's worst mechanism. It's these little bolts with these little Easter egg looking hunks of pig iron that just hit, like, bolted up. It's ridiculous. It's not a good system. Then it comes down to this pipe, and I've had a fuck of a time getting this pipe to stay attached to the bottom of the exhaust manifold. Is it even Okay, yeah, it's tight now. I think the third round of me throwing a whole bunch of never come out juice on there finally did the trick. And then I'm pretty sure this first section of pipe is not connected very well out back to the next piece of cheap pipe that constitutes this exhaust system. So I can't really do much for the lower part of the system except tighten the clamps down even tighter, over torque them. But I've got new gaskets for all of this mess, which will hopefully help me with the backfiring and the I don't know, other issues. Man, fuck, I'm really not firing on all cylinders today. So that needs to get yanked off. Second, I bought a universal-ish kind of radiator shroud that needs to get put on here to hopefully aid in this thing's attempt to stay cool, which means the fan's gonna have to come out. Now that I'm looking at that, maybe the whole fucking, there's no way. I might have to unhook the radiator to get this thing in. This is gonna be fun. I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna do all of this. The shroud might be first, because I feel like that's gonna be the least demanding item on the list. And right now I just do not have the brain power for hard demanding tasks. So we're gonna start there and hopefully I start to feel better as we get going. Need to change my hat. This is my new nice hat. And I really don't want it to get fucked up and covered in sweat and oil and stuff because it's white. It's from a really cool brewery in Kansas City. So let me grab the parts, grab some tools, throw my where's your driver's license shades back on, and swap hats. I'll be back with you guys. We'll hop into it. Cool. Okay, so I've already run into one issue. Got this unbolted, and then was looking, you can just hang out there, at how close the fan and the pulleys and the whole front of my engine is to where the rad sits. Then I looked at this new shroud. I was like, man, she's thick. Like, that's a thick boy, tall boy. So I busted out the measuring tape, and she's 5.5 inches in length, like most of us, if we're honest, right? And there's only about 4 inches of clearance between the rad and the pulleys and the front of my engine. So for once, 5.5 inches is too big, which sucks. This is not the way that I wanted this revelation to be, because now that's fucking useless. I mean, no, it probably won't even fit in the truck. It is the absolute perfect like mounting spots if this was a small block. The ad, actually, this is my fault, not, I think, Jegs, not their fault. The ad said specifically, hey, this is only for small blocks, and I thought that was because of the width of the rad, because this is a small block width radiator, right? These little inline sixes came with a shorter rad from the factory. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Yeah, totally. Let's be real, Jegs, like name brand products aren't really known for being marketed and described exceptionally well to begin with. So figured it would work. Turns out it's not gonna, so that's great. But I get to cross it off the list. Like, if I can't do it, it's basically done, you know? So call that good, and then we'll move on to taking the big hunk of fuck your back off the side of the block and get that taken care of. And then we can get started on the thing that I'm dreading doing, which is the brakes. So cool. Let me unfuck what I just fucked, and then we'll get back to work. Okay, we're back. Daisy just took a nap. Went inside. I was starting to get sick. It was hot. Working on cars when you're hungover is great. I really didn't want to throw up in the yard again. But I made some progress before I took my break. There's the intake manifold, and it's not bolted on to the head anymore. A couple alarming things happened in this disassembly. One, I've got a lot of white stuff happening in my exhaust ports, which is kind of leading me to believe that this thing's running super lean, but like I smell the fuel when it's running, so I don't really know what to make of that, honestly. Ugh. Old Rochester single pot carburetor somewhere over there. I don't know. The big thing is that this didn't separate from the pipe. I probably should have pried that loose before I did this, but you know, you live and you learn. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is put the new gasket on. I'm gonna clean all this up, do some scraping, and then I'm gonna put the new gasket up, put at least one of these fucking awful ass bolts. These things are the ones I was talking about earlier, these little egg things, like this just bolts into the head, and this metal bit is what holds this to the head. It just seems like such a stupid fucking design. I am gonna clean all these bolts up though. I think I'm gonna throw them in the bench vise and take the wire wheel to them. Hopefully they'll thread nicer and start getting this thing put back together. Just wanted to do a quick update with you guys before I get back at it. So anyway, yeah, that's the plan. I'll let you guys know if anything awful happens between now and the next time I pick you up. It probably will. If I was a betting man, I'd say that it's going to. All right, let's get to it. So, I'm back, and I don't know if I've done a good enough job of explaining to you guys how much I fucking hate this setup, but I finally got all the bolts in, back in to put it on, and then the exhaust pipe fell off. It's just hanging out. We'll worry about that in a sec, but just like fuck this. And like, all of the bolts are at least started. I'm pretty sure this one's cross-threaded, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's just gonna have to be what it is. But like, even this little Easter egg thing here isn't lined up right, so I've got to back it out and play with it and get it lined up. I've been spending most of my time hunched over like Gollum, sitting in the engine bay trying to fuck with this, and that thing weighs like 30 pounds. I don't know, 80 billion pounds, something like that. Weighs way too fucking much. It's heavy. My back hurts. My hangover's back with a vengeance. I think I'm gonna puke, but it's on, so I'm moving, making good progress here. Over here, plan B, driving a completely untested motor about 1,000 miles at least. This is what's going on my throttle cable. This little grommet dude is supposed to be in here, but you can see just by fucking looking at it that it's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's like old and dry rotted and broken. But I think what I can do is just shove this one right here so it's behind it, and put that one right there, and then just lots of zip ties, and it should work, right? It'll just at least get me down the road, maybe, hopefully. Let's see, what's it do? Yeah, that'll work. Cool. Maybe a plan. We'll see. I don't know. I'm tired. But today's the only day I got to do this, so we're doing it. I'll get back to you guys. All right, so the intake slash exhaust is back on correctly, or as correctly as I can do it, which is kind of the same thing, hopefully anyway. I want to draw you guys' attention to the slight angle that this exhaust manifold shoots off at. And there's a pretty stereotypical, like, regular pipe that should be there that comes up, and there's a flange that fits there, and the gasket that they use to mate the two is one of these little rings here, one of these guys, and it sucks. I have burned through 3 of those rings. I've double bolted both of the bolts that hold that pipe up to the manifold. I've used red Loctite. Pretty much half of this fucking thing, which is just about empty now, has gone towards keeping that pipe attached to that manifold. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Eventually it will shake loose or come undone, right? Or that ring gasket. I don't know, man. It's just such a bitch to put in, and it doesn't work right, and it's a shit design. And I love this truck. So That's what we're doing next, is getting the exhaust back up to it properly. I'm gonna play the Adaptaruna game and use my super long cock Extendomatic for the impact and just fucking whiz bang bang ugga dugga that thing in there. Because at this point, even if I break or strip the manifold, I kind of don't give a fuck. This thing's getting a small block probably in the next couple months. This is literally just for power tour. So we'll see. I'll get it done. I'll show you guys what I do and probably how bad I fuck it up. But it's time to get the truck in the air and get to work. So get back to work, I should say. Keep taking breaks to talk to you guys. Ugh. Alrighty, let's go. Alright, so reason number 8,000, I fucking hate this intake setup. I'm under the truck. I think I've got everything lined up. And I go to zam my bolts up. And look, that dumb fucking ring gasket slipped and got crushed. God fucking damn it, man. Like, you can't fucking win. I've got an extra, so, because of shit like this. So, I'm gonna undo all the shit I just did for the last hour and hopefully put it back and it's gonna work this time. Yay. Alright, so, surprise, surprise. This one did it too. Not nearly as bad, but it is kind of bulging out there. I got it. I tried to be as careful as possible, like getting the little bracket thing lined up and the gasket doohickey thing where it's supposed to be before I brought out the daka and ugga dugga. But I don't know, it just did it. It can't sound worse than when I took it apart. It literally didn't have one of those gaskets in there. The other one that was in there disappeared, and when I put that one in, it didn't do that. So I did it wrong the last time I did this. Looks like I did it wrong again. Whatever, they're like $8 a piece. If it gets loud and obnoxious again, I'll just change it again. But my God, fuck that little piece. I didn't put Loctite on it, red Loctite. Definitely not because I forgot it up here on the bench, but definitely because I wanted to just do 2 bolts instead of 1 bolt with Loctite. So there's 2 bolts up there on each one of the little fucking, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. It's double bolted. So cool. Now I just gotta slap the carburetor and back on and the vacuum lines and probably spend 80 billion years getting the throttle hooked back up. That'll take forever. But after all that's done, losing the light, so a decision's gonna have to be made. I think what I'm gonna do is get it all together and start it, listen to it run, and if it sounds good, I might delay my drive up to Indiana by a day so I can do the brakes, or I might try and power through them tonight. I don't know, we'll see. I'll let you guys know, but I'm losing light and it's gonna get dicey. I'll pick you guys up in a bit. All right, so it's back together. I know it's misfiring. I can hear it too. I think it's the cheap no-name HEI that it's got on it. I'm not sure. We're not worried about that today. It still runs fine enough. But sounds way better than it did. There's not a massive exhaust plate coming out of the front there. Used to be that it would just blow your eardrums out or drone really bad in this general area. And the tailpipe actually makes some noise now too, which is cool. All right, so done. We can write the exhaust leak off. It's probably not actually fixed, not for real. That's fine though. I'm happy with the way it is now. We'll see how long this particular fix lasts. The next thing I got to do with this truck is do the disc conversion, and I think that's going to be a different video. This one's probably already half an hour long. I'm trying to keep them as close to 15 as possible, believe it or not. So
we're gonna go ahead and cut it here. Thank you guys for watching. If you followed along, I know today was probably not the best episode of Some Idiot with a Wrench. Started a little rough. We finished strong though, did what we wanted to do, at least part of what we set out to do. So if you hung out to the end of the video, I truly appreciate you. Really appreciate your support. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one.